For as long as money's existed, the real secrets to building wealth, they've been hidden, always locked behind closed doors by the people at the top. They've used the knowledge to stay in power while the rest of us are stuck trading hours for paychecks and jobs that we just hate. I know you heard the saying, the rich getting richer and the poor are just getting even more poor. And this statement is not only true, but it's unfortunately getting worse and worse. In fact, if we compare the bottom 10% of earners back in 2000 to the top 10% of earners in 2018, the wealth has shifted a staggering 39% into the rich's favor. And that was 7 years ago. Imagine what it is now. What if I told you there was one secret that 90% of the wealthiest people in the world use to not only predict the trends in business, but to also stay filthy and rich? This is why in this video, I'm gonna show you exactly what that looks like. There's no tricks, no bullshit, just real and unfiltered truth. I remember when I was slaving away at a job and had absolutely no clue what to do. And that right there was the biggest problem, because I didn't know the next step to take. I just stayed stagnant and did absolutely nothing. I was a high school dropout with nothing to my name. And like you, I wanted to be rich, filthy and rich. I just didn't know the steps to get there. That is until one of my mentors, James, walked into my life and told me about the benefits of learning Forex. I know it's a very particular niche, but I promise you, the skills you get from learning Forex can only make you millions of dollars in the space, but allow you to predict how the world reacts to just different events. And in turn, it can help you predict the market so well that everyone will be asking you, dude, how did you know exactly what the market is doing before everyone else did? And how are you making so much money? At which point, if you like that person, you'll likely send them this video right here, so they can do the exact same thing that you did. But before we go into how you can use Forex to predict what happens in the world, you need to have a basic understanding of what Forex actually is. Forex stands for foreign exchange trading. So what that really means is you are trading one currency for another. An example would be trading the US dollar for the Japanese yen, or the Canadian dollar for euro, which is the European currency. I bet a lot of you guys didn't even know that was an actual thing. Let's take McDonald's for example. McDonald's has locations in pretty much every country in the world, but it's a US based company, so their main currency is the US dollar, or USD in Forex terms. So what happens when McDonald's wants to trade their euro at a European location for US dollar? Well, in Forex terms, that's called euro versus the USD. This trade in the Forex market needs to be timed correctly or the results are very, very bad. If the euro is worth less than the US dollar at that given point in time, then McDonald's can lose millions of dollars on that transaction. So they have to time it almost perfect. They hold their money in the euro until they see a pivotal change in the market. And when the euro is worth more than the US dollar, they quickly trade the euro for the USD. You know what the best part about this is? Not only did they make money from their burgers they sold, but they also made even more from the trade since the euro is now worth more than the US dollar. This in a nutshell is pretty much what Forex is. Trading one currency for another so you can profit the difference. And every major company in the world does this. So how can you figure out exactly where the money is flowing? Because where the money flows, that's where the profit grows. And if you can learn exactly when this happens, not only can you make a ton of money in Forex, but you can learn how to spot trends that actually control every other market in the world. But unless you know how to read the charts and the world events, this actually means nothing. Let's jump into the charts and give you some real strategy so you can actually be successful and not just gamble your money away like 99% of traders do in the space. You see, most traders just jump in blind, placing random bets and gambling their money away like a chicken with his head cut off. You want to be strategic, thinking ahead like a chess player does before he takes his opponent's king. Everyone starts out as a pawn in this game. But if you actually sit back and watch what is happening, learn the skill correctly and study the market, you can make more money than you ever thought was possible. The entire point of this video is to give you financial freedom, allow you to live the life you've always wanted, the life that I've given to my close friends, my family, and my mentees. And this is how you'll do it. So the first thing you're going to need to know in Forex is, what is a quote? A quote in Forex terms is just the price of currencies you are trading. On the left, you have the base, and on the right, you have the quote. The base is the first currency, and the quote is for the second. For example, let's say USD is at 1.04. That means that 1 euro costs $1.04. Now, the main way we measure profit or loss in Forex is with something called a pip, for short, price interest point. Let's say you pull up a chart for a euro USD, you might see 1.04, but the real price is usually shown with 5 or 6 digits, like 1.0458. If the price jumps up to 1.0468, that's a 1 pip movement. A pip is simply the movement of the decimal by 0.0010, up or down. So that tiny shift can mean a huge gain because of how leverage works in Forex. With the right position size, you can make serious money from a single pip. When you purchase Forex, you have a buy price and a sell price, which your broker provides. The broker charges you the difference between those prices, called the spread, to fulfill your order. And every broker is going to be slightly different. I'd find one that takes commission on your order, so that it's not only fulfilled faster, but your broker is more incentivized to help you out. Now, I know this is a lot of information to drop on you, but I promise as you go through these videos, it will all start to make sense and eventually just become secondhand nature. I believe in you, so stay with me, and I promise you're gonna be profitable. So let's talk about what actually makes the Forex market move. There's a lot of factors like central banks, major companies, and big economic events happening in the world right now. All of these, they're going to influence the price movement. So here's something I want you to know real quick. Trading stocks, futures, gold, or even crypto is a completely different game compared to Forex trading. The biggest difference is what we call the golden egg of Forex, leverage. So leverage allows you to trade other people's money in order to turn a profit faster. You might only have $500 to your name, but leverage actually allows you to get access to hundreds of thousands of dollars in funding. And the only form of a trading that allows this, it's Forex. In stocks, you can only get 1-to-1 leverage, maybe 1-to-2 max. But in Forex, you can do 1-to-50 in the US and even go as high as 1-to-200 in other parts of the world. But what does this mean? Well, if you have 1-to-2 leverage and you put in $1, that means you can get $2 back. Now imagine you're putting in $200 on a trade with 1-to-50 leverage. You could be walking away with $10,000 at the end of the trade. But leverage is a double-edged sword. It will magnify both your profits and your losses, which is why you need a good strategy to have proper risk management. I like to stick to a 1-to-3% rule. Never risk more than 1-to-3% of your account on a single trade. This will not only give you the chance to stay in the game longer, but will also minimize your losses when you do take that hit. Every great trader takes multiple hits. It's just simply part of the game. But the key is to minimize your losses. You've probably heard the terms bull and a bear market. A bull market is when price rises, and a bear market is when they fall. So in Forex, you can profit in both directions. For example, when the global demand for gold, oil, or silver surges, the currency of the top exporting country often increases in value. These moves appear in Forex before they show in major stocks. By paying attention, you can spot the shift before it happens, that you can't outsmart the largest players. However, you can track their activity. Look for the trades they place and the news that they react to by using tools such as forexfactory.com. One important tool is the US dollar index, which compares the dollar's value to other major currencies. Large companies often place their money into US Treasury bonds, which is considered pretty safe. When foreign investors buy these bonds, they have to pay in the dollar, which is going to increase the demand for the dollar and raise its value overall. If you know when this happens, you can trade the stronger dollar against the weaker currencies and keep a little profit. Let's take a second to bring everything together now. This is why they kept the game hidden from people like you, because if you knew how it worked, well, you wouldn't keep playing. You wouldn't keep showing up to that job that kills you slowly. You'd learn how to move like they move, quiet, fast, and early. Let me give you something nobody ever gave me. The markets don't move because of emotion. They move because of reaction. Not your retail reaction, but institutional reaction, bank level, country level, billionaire level reaction. And the first place those reactions show up is right here in the Forex market. Before stocks falls, currency slip. Before companies crumble, currency shift. You're not just reading numbers, you're watching the power balance change. You want to know how hedge funds prepare for global collapse? They don't wait for news. They read the sentiment, positioning, the strength, and the liquidity. And you can literally see all of that for free every day. You want to see how the dollar reacts to war? Look here. You want to know how if inflation is real or just fear? You look here. You want to understand how interest rates crush economies? Watch the charts. This is the part that changed everything for me. You don't need to be perfect, you just need to be early. You don't need to predict, you need to respond faster than the rest of the world. That's the edge. That's how you win in a system that is rigged. Not with talent, not with luck, but with timing and vision. And Forex is the one place that they never expected you to look. And now, you've got one tool that actually lets you do it. So don't waste the moment, don't be the dude who got it late, start watching the charts like your life depends on it, because it actually does. So this is your leverage, this is your signal, this is your way out. And now that you've seen it, you don't get to ignore it. If this hits, then the next move isn't even optional. Click the next video because now it's about execution, not information. It's where I give you the structure that actually makes this shit work. You've already seen the map, now it's time to learn the route. Click the next one, lock in, and let's get to work. No fluff, no hand holding, just a strategy built for killers. If that's you, I'll see you there. If not, close the tab. Peace.